Tonight, Broken Hill all set to exit the New South Wales lockdown, and Port Pirie's New Year's Eve fireworks once again fall victim to COVID.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. It's finally been set in stone. Lockdown will end on Monday for the fully vaccinated in Broken Hill. The new Premier making his mark on the roadmap, announcing major changes. Adamant his plan is supported by health advice.
We've finally made it. New South Wales has reached 70% double dose, lighting the path out of lockdown from Monday.
The sacrifices and the effort of people right across New South Wales have ensured that we can open up as quickly and safely as possible.
And just days into the job, Dominic Perrottet today confirming we'll get some freedoms sooner than the previous roadmap. From Monday, indoor pools will be able to open for specific users. In-home visitors have doubled to 10 people, outdoor gatherings up to 30. 100 people will be allowed at weddings and funerals. Staff who can't work from home must have had at least 1 dose of vaccine by Monday, but have until November to be fully vaccinated.
These changes today are measured, sensible, and ensure that we open up in a very safe way.
Group sizes and mask rules easing further at 80%, while all students will be back in school by the 25th. The Premier adamant the changes are supported by the Chief Health Officer.
If the roadmap was originally constructed off the health advice, what changed? What changed in the health advice that all of a sudden we now have a new or changed roadmap?
The reality for Broken Hill, we will be opening up with active cases in the community. The LHD predicting anywhere between 10 and 60 daily cases as we reopen.
To be honest, the success or otherwise will really depend on how engaged the community will be in terms of maintaining their vigilance.
And if you're unvaccinated, the stay-at-home rules apply until December. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, South Australia is preparing for its transition to a COVID normal life. The Premier says he is expecting most double vaccinated interstate visitors will be allowed in for Christmas without having to quarantine. Reporter Dylan Smith has more.
The state government is currently finalising its COVID Christmas plan, which is expected to be announced in the next few weeks. It comes after the Premier announced yesterday his plans to let double vaccinated visitors into South Australia.
I think people this Christmas can look forward to having people coming from interstate to spend time with them. I think they can look forward to no statewide lockdowns.
It is good news for families who haven't been able to see loved ones for months. However, the Premier says the public should still expect some restrictions to be in place.
But I do need to emphasise that there still will be restrictions in place. Caps, density arrangements will be in place.
It's also a positive for local tourism operators, with interstate residents welcome back to the state's regions, just in time for a busy summer period. Mr Marshall had a clear message for the whole state.
My very strong message is please go and get yourself vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, your community. Do it for the entire state.
However, it's not a fully open door, with the Premier indicating people who had visited a hotspot or are not fully vaccinated will still face mandatory quarantine.
Port Pirie's New Year's Eve celebrations have become the first in our region to be cancelled. Council making the tough decision, with Mayor Leon Stevens saying the community's safety is their top priority.
A decision not made lightly. Port Pirie Regional Council making the early call to cancel their traditional New Year's Eve celebrations.
Yeah, it's been a very hard decision. It's one of those situations it's timed. To bring the pyrotechnics on that we need for a New Year's Eve celebration, we have to let the pyrotechnic guys know by October.
The Mayor says given the current situation with COVID, Council has to be mindful of restrictions, as it's not guaranteed there won't be another lockdown. As we approach higher vaccination rates and the possibility of borders opening towards Christmas, he is concerned there may be a rise in cases.
We have to look at the masses and make sure that we're safe in this region, and through the decisions that have been made by the state and also by local councils, you've proven that this area, we've made the right decisions, we've been COVID-free.
Council plans to keep the funding aside which would have been used for the New Year celebrations, putting it towards a community event sometime early next year when there's a bit more clarity around COVID restrictions.
Going forward, there'll be other New Year's Eves, and it might be a time where you have a few more numbers at home.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And for the second year running, Port Lincoln's Carols on the Foreshore has been cancelled. The popular community event was scheduled for early December. However, organisers say the uncertainty surrounding the COVID requirements made the event not feasible. They're planning to return in 2022.
Going to be a real loss to the community again this year. We really hope that this year we can put some measures in place for next year and get it back up and running again next year, bigger and better, and get the community together down on the foreshore again.
The Port Lincoln Ministers Association says local churches are planning to run smaller events as an alternative. Broken Hill Police are asking locals to dob in a dirt bike following a number of recent thefts. Among those reported stolen, a black and pink Yamaha, a yellow and silver Suzuki with scratched mudguard and bent brake levers, and an orange KTM. Anyone with information is asked to contact the local station or Crime Stoppers. Images and videos can also be uploaded through the police website. Still to come tonight, Wyler Council set to partner with a new hotel development, and Flinders Ranges businesses in the running for the State Tourism Awards. Welcome back. The Wyler City Council has joined forces with the operator of a proposed multi-million-dollar hotel on the local foreshore. The new partnership will see the project integrated into Council's plans for the precinct.
It's another major development for the Steel City's newest attraction. The Wyler City Council checking into the proposed hotel on the foreshore, signing a memorandum of understanding with the developers.
The intent or purpose of the memorandum of understanding is to document a shared agreement for the three parties to work together to look at positioning Wyler as a destination for both tourism and business conferences.
The three parties agreeing to integrate the hotel into the area and use it to advocate for investments for the city. It's hoped the proposal will also bring jobs and provide an economic boost to the region.
The hotel will become essentially a beacon, not only for visitors and tourists, but also in terms of the opportunity to host events.
Expanding Ada Ryan Gardens and a new outdoor swimming pool that would be accessible to the public also on the agenda. Thrive Construct's chairman says the group is pleased to be part of this memorandum.
So we're very pleased with the response from the Wyler Council and the efforts the senior management team have put in.
Plans are also underway to submit a formal development application. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Drilling will ramp up at the Horsens Iron Project near Broken Hill as it moves towards full production. The company says the future outlook remains positive, despite a slump in iron ore prices. Reporter Lachlan Itter has the details.
Iron ore prices have been dropping sharply since June and are at their lowest in more than 12 months. But Horsens Iron says its project stacks up financially, even in the lowest price bracket.
It's full steam ahead. Obviously, the iron ore prices affected our share price. We've already started the large capital raise.
$35.6 million to be used for the bankable feasibility study to secure the project's future.
We're very confident this is a world-class asset.
From next week, the company will ramp up its drilling efforts, collecting around 160 samples. It'll give further clarity on the quality of the ore and lifespan of any mining operations.
20 years at 10 million tonnes per annum, but that was drilled in a constrained area, if you like.
A COVID-safe bubble has been established for the drilling contractors who've come from South Australia and across New South Wales.
Where we can, we've used locals. There hasn't been a lot available, to tell you the truth, in the skilled areas that we're looking.
The company is still looking into how it will ship products, Port Pirie and Whyalla among locations being considered.
Voting is now in full swing for the 2021 South Australian Tourism Awards. The Flinders Ranges Council is especially excited with this year's field, with a large number of local tourism attractions nominated.
A multitude of awards could soon be pulling into the station. Quorn's renowned Pitchy Ritchie Railway has been nominated as a finalist in the SA Tourism Awards. The iconic railway is among 9 tourist attractions in the Flinders Ranges on the shortlist.
There's not too many of these types of railways left anywhere.
Hawker businesses Flinders Food Co and Flinders Bush Retreats were also both nominated for their efforts.
Several up there in Hawker, all offering different experiences. That's the other side of it. They're not competing really.
The awards are designed to recognise the high level of service provided by South Australian tourism businesses and attractions. With the polls now open, the Mayor says locals can support their favourite Flinders Ranges destination in the Voters' Choice category. He says winning an award is a huge benefit in encouraging tourists to visit.
It's a way of advertising, a way of drawing attention to us and bringing people out there.
Public voting for that particular award closes at 9 a.m. on Monday, the 11th of October. All the winners will be revealed at the gala dinner in Adelaide on Thursday, the 4th of November. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. Whyalla's best designers urged to enter a local sculpture competition. And Port Augusta school students enjoy a day at the beach. Spencer Gulf residents can now vote for 4 positions on the Primary Industry Minister's Recreational Fishing Advisory Council. The council is a peak body for rec fishing in the state, providing direct feedback and advice to the state government. The other 5 positions on the council will be up for election next year. Voting closes on October 22. Eyre Peninsula landholders have been included in the Australian government's vegetation pilot. It's one of 6 regions that will allow farmers to receive payments for managing and enhancing remnant native vegetation on farm. The trial will prioritise funding for projects with the most biodiversity benefit per dollar. Participating farmers will enter a 10-year agreement with the government. Businesses in Whyalla's Central Business District are encouraging artists to submit sculpture designs for the area. The City Plaza traders are planning to extend the Heritage Walking Trail, which winds its way throughout the Steel City.
An opportunity to help revitalise a core part of the Whyalla community. The City Plaza Business Association calling for artists in the Steel City to submit designs for sculptures that will line the CBD's streets.
We've actually been devising this for a couple of years now. We wanted to do something that was going to add some value, some artistic value to our current City Plaza.
They're asking entrants for designs based on the theme of connection through steel. The sculptures will help beautify the historic city centre, with the selected artworks eligible to win $250 in prize money.
What we're hoping is that we're going to have up to 10 sculptures throughout the precinct, which will form part of the Heritage Trail.
Due to the COVID pandemic, the deadline for designs has now been extended until the end of this month. Artists are asked to submit entries that can be laser cut on medium-sized sheet metal.
It'll bring obviously tourists down to follow the trail. It'll be new and exciting for the City Plaza. Hopefully it'll help fill up some businesses.
Entry forms can be picked up at Elders Insurance on Patterson Street. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta kids were having fun in the sun today, with local groups organising an action-packed beach day. The event letting them enjoy some fun and games before the new school term rolls in next week.
There has been no excuse to be bored in Port Augusta these school holidays. The local youth centre putting on events every day for the last fortnight to entertain local children.
We go on fun excursions.
From fishing trips to disco glow parties and pool and cinema days, there has been something for everyone. The school holiday program culminating today with a fun at the Foreshore beach party.
Oh, we're down the beach, we're having a barbecue and as part of the youth centre school holiday program.
Tug of war, balloon hockey and beach cricket were among today's popular activities, with a free barbecue lunch being provided to settle the appetite that was most definitely worked up.
Kids are having a game of cricket, basketball, a little bit of play on the beach.
But it will soon be back to reality for all of them. Port Augusta schools will be returning for Term 4 on Monday next week. But with this much fun in the air, the kids involved today were wishing holidays could go on for another week or two.
I'm going to swim in the beach.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We will check what's biting in the Spencer Gulf this weekend. And we'll have the weather details with Ruby Kameen. Hello again. Time to check what's biting out there in the Spencer Gulf when you drop a line this weekend. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, a real fisherman's basket at the moment. No one's really bagging out any one species, but there's a lot around. King George whiting can still be found a little bit further south, so down in Yatla Harbour and Chinaman's Creek. Salmon up around the creeks on the other side of the Gulf, at around Port Patterson and up around the old power station site. People are getting some flathead and flounder when they're trying for the King George whiting, so that's a good mixed bag there, and also the odd grass whiting. Kingfish can be found up around the side of the old powerhouse and also up around the rail bridge. There's some crabs around, they take a little bit longer to get in. There's also some garfish and Tommy Rough getting caught as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North. Now it's over to Whyalla.
Hi, Whyala's fishing tips this week. Land-based across Whyalla, local jetty, still producing a few squid. Late in the afternoon has been the better times and early in the morning. Land-based towards Point Lowly, some nice salmon schools really starting to hold up close to the rocks there and further down towards Becky Point area as well. There has been a few land-based sharks being captured over the last few weeks, so definitely get amongst those. Late in the afternoons when the strong southerly winds has been the hot tip. And the blue swimmer crabs, again, starting to show a little bit more numbers around Whyalla, work the deeper waters still.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. We're closing this whiting season off. It started to make you shiver, I tell you what, because we're going to miss out on those beautiful King George whiting. There's a few places that you might need to visit just while we're waiting to get the last of them. One is around the Horseshoe on Barrows Beach, at the top end of Ward Spit as well. And of course we run around to Port Davis. Woods Point is always going to be producing. While you're at Barrows Beach, perhaps have a look in the shallows just to see if there's some yellowfin turning up, and also along the Talawi Beach area. Crabs, if you look around at Green Boy and all that sort of stuff, in front of the Port Davis Creek mouth, there's still crabs there as well. Here's your opportunity this weekend. It's going to be cooler, but actually good wind. We'll see you soon.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, there's been some good whiting reports down the passage, down through Taylor's Landing and also all the way down at Thistle Island. Closer to home, there's been some good catches of salmon trout around Boston Island and also up at Louth Island. There's still some good schools of salmon on the south coast of Port Lincoln when the weather allows. The southern part of the group is holding some good whiting at the moment, along with some snook and also some good sized squid in that area. Over at Coffin Bay, there has been quite a few salmon trout in the bay system and a few whiting, but you will have to measure most of the whiting. They are on the small side. That's all for tips this week. We'll see you again next week.
And with a look at what's happening weather-wise this weekend, here's Ruby Kameen.
Thanks, John, and good evening, everyone. Well, we've nearly made it to the end of the week, and I'll have those important weekend details in just a moment. But first, let's see how the weather fared today. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was mostly sunny and 20, 17 degrees in Whyalla. Clare got to a cloudy top of 15. Looking further out now, Broken Hill, Port Pirie, Port Lincoln and Woodner all reached 19. Kadina was partly cloudy and 17. Adelaide had the region's low of 16, while Cooper Pedy had the high of 22 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, clouds skimming the southeast of South Australia in the wake of a front is only bringing the odd shower. Skies are clear elsewhere under a building high pressure system. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters, Wind south to southwesterly 10 to 15 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres, swells south to southwesterly below 1 metre. And earlier, a marine wind warning was issued for South Australia. Some sun is coming our way. 22 in Port Lincoln, Cleve 25, Woodner a sunny 28 degrees. Whyalla a max of 27, Port Augusta to reach 29, Kadina 23 degrees. Port Pirie a sunny top of 27, Clare set for 22 and Broken Hill to reach 29. Taking a look further through the week now, some rain forecast for parts of the regions on Saturday. Woodner and Kadina 21, Port Lincoln 18, reaching the early 30s in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill. Not much improvement on Sunday, sadly. 18 degrees in Broken Hill, Kadina and Whyalla, a top of 20 in Cooper Pedy and Port Pirie. Port Augusta and Woodner both 19, cooling down to 16 in Port Lincoln. Heading into next week now with the rain finally clearing, except in Broken Hill, 17 degrees there on Monday, partly cloudy and 21 in Port Pirie and Woodner, 19 in Kadina. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you, John.
Thanks for that, Ruby. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will return at the normal time of 7 p.m. tomorrow. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.